Okay, it's live streaming and it is recording. And take it away, Veronica.
Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, today is June 21st, 2022. The time is 7:01 p.m. This is the June Public Safety Committee meeting of Community Board 11. We are expecting to have the Parks Enforcement Patrol, Captain Sanchez, joining us. I don't think Captain Sanchez is on yet, but hopefully he will be soon. So we'll wait to see. Before that, right now, just so you know, in attendance from our committee, it's me, Veronica Castro, Chair, Phyllis Nastasio, Co-Chair, Ellie Rodriguez, and Melanie LaHouse, and Yahe Obi, committee members. As for the gallery, we have Larry Moriello, Diana Finch, Roxanne Delgado, Kathleen May-Lamas. It says director, but I'm not sure. Director of Community Affairs, CD15, and Julene Murray Shaw in the gallery. We will not be voting on our May minutes today because due to our error, the agenda was not put up in time, so we're not going to vote on the May minutes. We will vote on them in September at our September meeting. The 4-9 precinct was not able to join us today. So can you tell me who is the number that starts with 646 and ends in 40? Hello? Caller calling in on a phone, 646. And
Can you hear me? It's Captain Sanchez with New York State Parks Enforcement.
Hi, Captain Sanchez. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So Captain Sanchez is joining us from the Parks Enforcement Patrol. There were people in the public and some people on the board that were concerned. There were concerns about barbecuing in the parks this coming summer, and we wanted to know what the parks was putting into place to avoid any kind of incidents that may occur in the parks. So, Captain Sanchez, would you like to, tell us what's going on, and then we can have some questions?
Yes, we are enforcing the park rules and regulations regarding the barbecue. We do get numerous complaints regarding Panama Bay North regarding the barbecue area. We do enforce it. We try to work with the community in dealing with the barbecue issues. So, but we are enforcing it when we do get 311 complaints. We do enforce it on our regular patrols. So yes, we are enforcing it. It is being enforced.
Will you be having people walking through the parks on a regular basis to look out for people? Because I know that there's been some complaints of parties and stuff already happening in the parks.
Yes, our regular patrols, we have 2 shifts. Right now, it's from 7 to 3:30 and 2:30 to 11. And out of those 2 shifts, we are patrolling the location. Sometimes it's gonna take us a long time due to manpower, because I don't know if you're aware, but most of our officers do go to the beaches and the pools when they get during the summer, because they get stepped up to supervision. So during the summertime, we do lose a lot of personnel because they do get en route to the beach and the pools.
Okay. So they're not going to the beach and the pools to hang out. They're actually working at the beach and the pools.
Correct. They working at the beach and the pools as supervisors, and due to the shortage, I don't know if you heard of it, but there's been a lot of shortage when it comes to the beaches and the pool when it comes to manpower.
No, I personally was not aware of that, but thank you for letting us. I'm going to start with the committee first. Anybody on the committee have any questions for Captain Sanchez?
Yeah, I have something. Thank you for joining us tonight. I just had a question. Mulliner Matthews Playground, it closes at sunset, but sometimes they jump over the fence and they just hang out there, late at night. And it's tough. We don't know who to call. So what happens after that time, after 10, 11 o'clock, 12 midnight? How can we handle a situation like that?
After 11 p.m., our last tour ends at 11. Your best bet is to either dial 911 and let them know that you have individuals trespassing inside the park, and they'll dispatch a unit to remove them out of the playground.
Sounds good. And are you planning in the future hiring maybe part-timers or some part-time enforcement in the summer so that you don't deplete the parks in order to support the pools and the beaches?
Sometimes we do hire CSA sometimes for the parks, but it's mainly for the beaches and the pools during the summer. That's our main focus during the summer is the pools and the beaches. But we still have our units patrolling, during the morning hours and the late night hours to 11 p.m.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else from the committee have a question? No? Okay, I'm going to start down the line of the way you are in order that I see you on my screen. So the first one up is Evelyn. And Evelyn, I think you have a couple of questions in the chat. Do you want to ask Captain Sanchez yourself?
Yes, want to ask specifically, the public parks, are they closed at dusk or do they have a specific time to close?
Most of the parks in the Bronx close at 10 p.m., but we do have big parks like Pelham Bay Park, Starlight Park. They close at 1 a.m.
Okay, and I have another question about enforcement. What do you mean by enforcement? Because barbecues are continuously happening on the weekends from, like, I live on Waring and Bronx Park East, and that goes on every weekend.
Okay. I just want you to at least understand. We have a total right now of 57 officers, and I wish we had more. But out of those 57 officers, we have to handle the whole borough of the Bronx. So if we go to a barbecue condition and we advise the individuals that's barbecuing, it has to be shut off, and he has meat on the grill and things like that. We're not going to tell the individual, you have to throw your meat away and you got to turn it off. We're going to give him a chance to, grill whatever he needs to grill, and then he got to shut it off. So if you see us, talking to the community, instead of us issuing summonses, there are times that we have to issue summonses because we do get individuals, they do get irate when we do ask them to turn it off. But, we try to work with the community.
Yeah, hey, you had a question?
No more questions. Thank you.
Okay. Julene, do you have a question for Captain Sanchez?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's a question so much of, well, maybe it will end up being a question. I just feel like Bronx Park East and the park, it's just like the wild, wild west, It's like their rules don't apply to anyone. Everyone can just do whatever they want. And the people who own homes around here have to put up with crazy. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It's like, I just feel like I'm living in a zone of insanity with the noise, the three-wheeler things, the 360 squealing at midnight. I have photographs of tire tracks from my apartment down below. I'm so fed up with the noise, the rudeness, the not paying attention to any rules. It's like there are no consequences. So,
correct.
So what is it that this borough is going to do to get a hold on the garbage situation, the noise factor, someone was murdered in front of my car, and then a week later, someone was murdered on Thwaites Place. It's just soup to nuts, crazy. I'm just curious what this borough is going to do, or is it just going to continue to be the wild, wild west with no consequences? The speeding, I mean, it's like there are no rules here. So I guess, please explain to me. I've been here for 6 years. I'm afraid every day when I leave for work. So explain this to me, because I don't understand it.
We are enforcing things in the park, but Bronx Park is not the only park that's changed. All the parks in the Bronx have changed. We have, we have scooters going into the park. We have motorcycles going into the park, ATVs going into the park. We do try our best to make sure that we enforce every park rule and regulations. But, I also want you to understand, we're not going to chase somebody that's on ATV and possibly injure somebody because this individual want to try to elude us from the park. But we are
They have carte blanche.
What was that?
Well, then they have carte blanche then to do whatever they want. It's like those things should be illegal.
No,
There's not another. You can't do that in Central Park. You can't do that in Prospect Park. I mean, why is all of a sudden when you cross into the Bronx, the rules of life and consideration just go out the window? I just do not understand.
The 409 precinct also has a rule that they don't chase anyone on bikes or the mopeds or anything like that, for fear of not only the person on the vehicle getting hurt, but passing people just walking, people in other vehicles getting hurt due to a chase. So I understand Captain Sanchez about not wanting to follow or chase after ATVs. You do have pedestrians in the park who are walking and who could get hurt.
And God forbid, we chase somebody, this individual loses control of the ATV and hits a kid. We actually going to be at fault because we're the one we're the one that's chasing the ATV to try to leave.
Is it legal? I don't understand why it's legal. That's what my question is, that all of this, the ATVs and the motorcycles and the racing and all of it is, no one is saying this is illegal and something is going to be done to stop it.
Right, but we also, we have to collaborate with NYPD. We have to collaborate with City Council. We have to, to see what we can do with these ATVs.
So what happens in Manhattan and what happens in Brooklyn? Why don't those same rules apply citywide?
They do apply citywide. I know there's places in Manhattan where you have ATVs going through the park in Manhattan.
Okay.
This is happening all in the 5 boroughs.
It's not.
This is not just happening in the Bronx. We have ATVs going through the parks in Staten Island.
Well,
So this is not
then the
just
mayor
the Bronx
has to. Then the mayor needs to get involved with this because it's out of control. It's out of control. And everyone here knows it, and it just feels like everyone has to be careful of the people who are on their ATVs instead of saying, no, this isn't going to fly. We're all homeowners. A lot of us are homeowners here. It feels like our building has no control over the noise factor and the dangerous issues that have gotten exponentially worse since the pandemic started.
Okay.
So that's
Thank
it.
you. Thank you for
Captain
voicing your
Sanchez, I
concern.
have a question.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
there any plans to hire more? 57 officers really is not enough to cover the Bronx. Pelham Bay Park alone would take most of that. Are there any plans to hire more officers?
Right now, I know the academy just came out, but there was only 36 officers in the academy, and that's still not enough. It's a city council thing. So if city council gives parks enforcement more money to hire officers, we'll hire more officers.
The 36 that came out of the academy, are they just for the Bronx or were they for the 5 boroughs altogether?
They were for the 5 boroughs.
Wow.
Okay,
And I wish those 36 officers could have gone to the Bronx.
okay, thank you. Next up, Roxanne, do you have a question? I see your hand up.
Yes, I do. Thank you so much. Captain Sanchez, before I start, I'd like to thank you for at least for your men and women efforts to address our concerns. But unfortunately, there's been 2 issues that's been, I think, in error. Yesterday we had barbecue in front of 815 Pelham Parkway North on the Greenway. And per 301 service request, it said condition was not founded. And this morning I found the barbecue, the cold dump on the tree where they barbecue nearby. And then on Sunday, they had some barbecue on 999 Pelham Parkway North across the School for Special Education. And again, 301 said condition not found, and they dumped the barbecue coal near the tree. I think because the grill was on between the parked cars, Parks enforcement felt that it was not a park issue, but the coal still ended up on the trees. So I think, and I thank you for all your efforts because you have been very responsive. I cannot say, despite your lack of resources and lack of political will from powers that be, that don't provide you with enough staff, that don't provide you with the enforcement to enforce these laws, because it feels like they just want you to tell people not to do it. But I think we should have political will where we actually remove them from the park and actually remove the grill. If there's a grill in the park, they don't belong in those areas that's not designated to barbecue. So I just like to say in the future, if you could ask your officers to, when they drive by, to at least get out of the car and to inspect that there is no grill, because they missed 2 of the service requests we made, and there was coals dumped on the trees the following morning. So I'm not against, I mean, we could deal with garbage, just the fact that damage they do to our trees. And one person said a few years ago, her dog walked on hot coals on the grass, and she had to take the dog to emergency and spend almost $1,000. So I hope these issues can be addressed, but thank you for your service.
Thank you. I will relay this to my officers, but they should be coming out the car to address these conditions.
Thank you.
So I will be addressing my officers in tomorrow's muster. Thank you, Roxanne.
Thank you, Captain. Stay safe.
And I just realized I am talking on mute. I am so sorry. So let me start again. Kathleen May, do you have anything to ask Captain Sanchez? No? Okay, then I'm going to move on to Diana
Oh,
Finch.
I'm muted. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
I noticed that city council was mentioned. Our chief of staff is also budget director, so I put my email address in the chat. Particularly if there are any really like community related concerns at all, or budget stuff that I can relay to the chief of staff.
Okay,
And
thank
just to let everyone know, Kathleen, you represent Oswald Police?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry about that.
I was trying to put the whole thing in my display name, but it was too many characters.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind. Thank you. Diana, do you have any questions for Captain Sanchez?
Yes, sure. Thanks, Captain Sanchez, for everything that you do. I have observed in Bronx Park East that the NYPD is now doing patrols inside the park, which we're very glad to see, in the afternoons and evenings. For the NYPD, we're able to call our NCOs about chronic conditions, which is very helpful to be able to just reach out to them. Is there a way that we can contact you? If we see a condition that we want you to address, how do we do that?
We
Can
have
reach you?
a 24-hour dispatch that's open 24 hours. You can call them. You could dispatch officers to a location where you need them to be dispatched at, I can provide that
Okay.
number for you. It's
Okay, and that number
642
would be on the Parks Department website too, right?
I don't think so. It's Central Communications number is not on the website, but I could provide that number for you.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great to be able to have that number.
It's
And then I also wanted to know if you're armed, if you carry guns or not.
No, we don't.
And you don't. Okay. And you would like just, if you had a situation that was out of control, you would get the NYPD there ASAP, right? I mean, that's how it would work.
No, we usually handle our own arrests. We do make arrests. We do issue criminal court summonses. We issue moving violations. We issue oath summonses. The only thing is we don't carry guns, but we do everything else as NYPD.
Okay. And then in terms of the barbecuing, from my point of view, the real concern is the trees and people barbecuing too close to the trees. And also proper disposal of the coals. And I know that, you know, they're not supposed to be barbecuing at all, but they are. So, and they have coals to dispose of. What should we be telling people about how to dispose of their coals?
Well,
And
that's
is it true that the
there's- I
coals
think
have
the-
toxic stuff in them that would get into that's going to get into the ground if they just leave them on the grass?
There should be garbage cans, correct? Red garbage cans in that area?
Red ones?
Yeah, they usually red garbage cans that you could put the coals in.
Oh, no, but this is in, you know, areas where people are not supposed to be barbecuing, but they are anyway.
Okay, so the best bet is to put it in aluminum foil.
Uh-huh.
Ask them if they can put it inside aluminum foil. And put it and see if they can put it inside a garbage can.
Inside the aluminum foil.
Yes, aluminum foil.
Right. Okay. Maybe we can get.
And they could dispose of it like that.
So the Parks Department has been handing out extra trash bags to people, which really helps a lot. You know, those heavy duty trash bags to all the picnickers and barbecuers. And everybody accepts them and everybody needs them. So maybe we can get them to hand out aluminum foil too.
I don't think that's gonna happen, but
Right, I know. Well, we could try. Because in terms of the barbecuing, it's impossible to stop it altogether. It's just culturally, it's impossible. So I think we have to figure out the best way to control it and keep it safe.
This is what we did a couple years ago, and it worked. We had our officers doing like 4th of July and Memorial Day. We had officers come in 5, 6 in the morning to these areas where we knew there was going to be barbecuing and it was illegal to barbecue in the park. So at 5 in the morning, we had individuals come into the park to barbecue, and we advised them where was the proper location to barbecue at. So we beat them to the punch, and we were there before they came into the illegal barbecuing location, and we told them where was the right place to go to.
And how do we go about getting a designated barbecue area for a big section of the park that has none?
But that has to come from the borough commissioner. She has to approve that.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the only way if it gets approved by the borough commissioner.
Right. Okay.
Captain Sanchez, can you put the 24-hour dispatch number in the chat so that everybody can have it in case they need it? Also, I see our council member Felice has joined us. Hello, Councilman. If you could just give us a couple more minutes so we can finish up with Captain Sanchez, and then we'd love you to address the galley.
Thank you so much. Good to see you all.
So now we have Diana. Larry, do you have any questions for Captain Sanchez?
have already been answered. I think Diana beat me to it, and Evelyn covered most of them too. As far as, everything going outside the park as well as inside the park.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody
Thanks.
that I missed that has a question for Captain Sanchez?
If you can just put the phone number in the chat, or if you want to say it out loud, we'll add it into the chat.
Yeah, let me say it out loud, but for some reason, just the web box is not working.
Okay.
It's 646 613 1200.
Thank you.
Again, 646 613 1200, and that's our central communication number, 24 hours.
Okay, Roxanne, you say you have another question?
Yeah, I'll make it short, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Chair. Captain Sanchez, again, thank you for all you do. I want to know if it's possible for PEP officers to do outreach when they enforce the no barbecue rules. Can it inform people where is the appropriate designated areas to barbecue, like Katona Park, Pelham Bay, as well as tell them why barbecue is not permitted in the parkway, because not only do we not have any bathroom facility, but also because the harm it does to trees and the air pollution. I think I myself are going to start an outreach program. As Friends of Pelham Park, we're going to start sometime next week. We're making signage and passing it out to people as to why barbecue is not allowed and where they could barbecue. But I was hoping also PEP officers could also provide some educational to those that they try to enforce the rules. Is that possible, please?
Yeah, that's possible, Roxanne. We could also start it. We could also start it. We could start it for the 4th of July. We could go out there. We could educate, and would that be helpful?
Thank you for always working with the community. Much appreciated.
You're welcome anytime, Roxanne.
Is there any other questions for Captain Sanchez? Okay, if not, Captain Sanchez, thank you so much for taking your time today and joining us at our meeting and answering all our questions. We really do appreciate that.
You're welcome, ma'am, anytime.
You're welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting, but if you need to go, we do understand that too. But again, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. I'm gonna go because I have another conference call I gotta attend to.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and we have Councilmember Oswald Felice joining us. Welcome, Councilmember. You can address the meeting any way you like.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me. So good to see you all. And also thank you so much for all the work that you do in the Bronx Park East and CB11 section of the Bronx, all of you. Briefly, just came here to listen to your concerns. Know that my office is always here to help. My office is located on Fordham Road and Hoffman Street. Anything that we could be helpful, always feel free to either walk in or call us. Also, sanitation and quality of life are big priorities for me. I know that in the Bronx Park East section of the Bronx, or Bronx Park East, Thwaites, Pelham Parkway North, we have a lot of cars doing donuts and also blasting music and partying. Going to be working with our local police precinct to make sure that, we're taking quick action before that gets worse. Also, another quality of life issue that I'm working in this side of town, or this side of my district, is on Allerton, the sanitation, but also the MTA. So if you check on the White Plains Road in Allerton corner, every corner has a section with a lot of bird droppings. And that seems like a minor problem, but it really affects the quality of life in that area, in an area that's so busy. So we're working with the MTA to take steps to help resolve that. Again, safety is my top priority, so I'm just here to listen to your concerns and talk about how I could be helpful to all of you.
Okay, I'm going to start with our committee members. Does anybody have any questions for Councilman Felice?
I just wanted to say, Councilman, thank you very much for being a public safety advocate and for advocating for quality of life issues. We have someone, a member of the public, she spoke earlier, and she's very concerned, and she has so many points, and she sounds like me when I mention these issues, that the Bronx is forgotten. Quality of life is just bad, and it's not like that in Manhattan and in Queens. I experience it every single day and I see it. So, but thank you for continuing to push. We know you're new in the job, just a couple of years in, but we just want to say thank you because we have seen some changes. It's just the borough needs to see, the entire borough needs to see the changes as well.
Yep. Thank you so much for that. And we're working every single day with our mayor to give our local police precincts the tools to be able to enforce our laws, including we've seen a lot of gun violence in our neighborhoods. We've also seen other quality of life stuff such as graffiti. Public safety and quality of life are my biggest priorities. I'm probably one of the most vocal people on that in the city council. And one thing that I'm currently working on is taking legislative action to help resolve the graffiti problem. We see it everywhere. I see some residential buildings with just layers of graffiti on top of graffiti, and our families deserve clean and safe neighborhoods. We're analyzing legislation, possibly restricting the sale of the spray paint cans. Maybe we should only be selling them to people who are going to prove that they could use them for a good purpose, such as artists, also construction related purposes. We're currently looking into that problem, the graffiti problem, and taking legislative action to help resolve it. But just know that in me, you have a very strong, very vocal ally on that problem.
Councilman Feliz, it's Eliezer Rodriguez. How are you? It's good to see you.
Good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Councilman, I have concerns about the scooters that are going up and down our sidewalks at all kinds of speeds. I'm just wondering, are you getting reports of those incidents, and what action can your office take?
The scooters and the ATVs as well, and those issues, right? Yeah, that's a really big problem, especially in the Bronx. You go to Fordham Road, East Tremont, you see groups of 30 plus people driving these ATVs on opposite lanes, doing tricks and putting themselves and putting other people, risking their safety, but also causing so much anxiety.
Mhm.
On that issue, we need to make sure that we're enforcing our laws, to send a clear message that we're not going to tolerate people driving those things and using those things in our streets. Those things are not legal. And earlier today, Mayor Adams announced that this year so far, they've confiscated nearly 2,000 ATVs. 2,000 already. That's actually nearly double of what they did this time of the year last year. We've done nearly double the amount of confiscations. And I think that is going to go a long way. Just sending a very clear message that if you use them, we're going to confiscate them and you're never going to see them again. They cause a lot of anxiety at all hours of the day, and our residents deserve, to be able to rest and to be able to rest when they get home, when they're going to work and coming back. So we need to aggressively enforce the laws that prohibit those scooters and also the ATVs in our streets.
Thank you. Anybody else from the committee have a question?
Councilman Feliz, can you put your phone number, your office number in the chat, or Kathleen, if one of you can just put your office number in the chat?
Yep. I'll post my office information right now.
Thank you.
Okay. Larry, you have your hand up. Do you have a question?
Yes, hi, Councilman. I was going to say, it's like you say we need to get better enforcement. That's the whole thing. We mentioned it to the 4-9, and they say, well, they know about it, but they're not going to stop them for the reasons that were mentioned earlier. If they start a pursuit, someone could get hurt, with the person on the vehicle or a pedestrian. So, I mean, that's the whole problem. It's like they say, well, we want to stop them, but we're not going to. So it's like they run amok. They say, well, they're not going to stop us, so we do what we want. I mean, can we give them a little more, untie their hands a little bit, say, well, there's a certain way you can pursue or something, or like kind of box them in or something. I don't know. Work with the police a little bit better. Thank you.
Yeah. No, we definitely need to give the police department the tools to be able to enforce our laws. I know, they can't pursue the ATVs, given that, they're putting everybody's life at risk, including their own life and also the person driving the ATV. But one thing that the police department is doing is, identifying areas where they meet at, and then taking action. And also, looking at social media, they actually post their meetup spots before they meet up. So just using different tools to be able to enforce those laws without having to, chase them in our roads. And they've been pretty successful. We still have to do much more, but they've been pretty successful. The city has confiscated double what they did last year at this time of the year. But we need to make sure they're confiscating them in the Bronx, right? We can't leave the Bronx behind. We can't just confiscate in Brooklyn and Queens.
Also, they have to be able to do something with the e-scooters and even the what do you call it? The delivery guys on their little scooters, the little mopeds or whatever. They go up on the sidewalks. They go the wrong way. They go through the lights. It still puts people at risk. It makes it. We got to watch out for them. They don't have to watch out for people. They don't worry about us because they know, for the most part, police aren't going to be able to do anything. So we're back to, what can we do to help the police out? Can we do something? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's going to require tackling the problem from many different angles. Those businesses, I saw a business on Fordham Road, and they had about 4 delivery people with their scooters parked right in front of the store in one of the busiest areas of Fordham Road. Why are the businesses allowing that? We should be able to, if the businesses are encouraging their drivers to engage in that type of behavior, we should be ticketing the businesses. They should be, encouraging their drivers to, drive it in a safe way and also drive it in a legal way and drive it in areas where it won't disrupt the rest of the community.
Okay, Roxanne, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, again, thank you, Chair. I'll make this short. To the council member, I just like to say hello, but also I'm quite disappointed with City Council not funding parks. Parks barely got a minimal uptick. They're still less than 0.5% of the entire budget. And we go through this every summer. Unfortunately, we don't have enough staff, especially not enough park enforcement, where the number of people barbecuing outnumber the number of park enforcement on tour. It's very sadly to expect park enforcement to enforce the rules when they outnumber. And I think it's very sad that for some reason, every year, as a person who's been advocating for park equity, park funding, that every year park is always left behind. And then we suffer the consequence because we use the parks. A lot of seniors, children use the parks, and they cannot use it safely or in a clean manner because we have people who think a park is something for them to party at, to burn trees, to even defecate. And it's not fair this is why people don't want to vote. This is why people don't trust their government, because they don't see the positive changes. People could see council continue making these announcements. We did this, we did that, 2,000 reduced, but we see every day outside a window how things have been deteriorating, especially in our parks. I think the city council needs to have the political will not only to fund our parks, but to provide a backup to parks enforcement to enforce the rules, not to tell people don't do this and leave because they know that if they enforce the rule, they'll lose their job or they're by liability. So we can't, I just hope that this will be addressed next year, because unfortunately it was not addressed this year. Thank you, Councilman, for being at the meeting.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And absolutely, our parks are one of the only outdoor spaces that our families have to enjoy and relax. So definitely got to make sure they're clean, they're safe, and that, people could actually relax in our parks as opposed to, loudness and etc.
I agree with Roxanne. We definitely need, 56 officers for the whole Bronx is insane. We definitely need more funding to go towards parks so they can hire more officers to patrol.
Okay, I'm going to, sorry about that. Diana Finch has her hand up, and after that, I'll go around to everyone else in case you're not able to do the raised hand effect and see if anybody else has questions. So Diana, go ahead.
Hi, Councilman Feliz. I have 2 questions. One is, in terms of the graffiti, what I'm really concerned about is gang graffiti. And I just wanted to know if there's like a special attention to that? Does the NYPD pay attention? Are they on the lookout? We can't always tell what's gang graffiti, but there sure are some suspicious locations and tags. And then the other question is there anything about the budget, like good news that you can tell us, or anything of particular interest?
Yep, absolutely. So, yep, agreed 100%. We've seen, especially in my district, a lot of gang-related graffiti. If you see any of it, reach out to my office. I'll post my email. I already posted my phone number and address, but I'll also post my email. If you see any of it, reach out to my office. Last year, we gave $200,000 to Wildcats. They do really good work on the issue of graffiti removal, and we're going to give them the same amount today, this year as well. Send over any addresses to my office, and we'll forward it to Wildcats so they could quickly remove it. Also, graffiti is a big problem. We need to make sure that we're funding the proper agencies to remove it. But I think we need to, we should be banning those, well, not banning those cans, but restricting them. If you're not a construction worker or artist, you shouldn't be buying them. If you can't prove that you're going to use it for a lawful purpose. We've seen a lot of graffiti, and it's really difficult to remove. I was driving by, not Bronx Park East, but around 42nd Street, and I saw a building just completely plastered with graffiti, and I just told myself, this is not the city that anybody would want to live in. So definitely on it. So yeah, any graffiti areas, send them over to my office. Also, legislative and budget items. I'll be brief. I know all of you have other items on the agenda. We had that horrible fire in Twin Parks in my district. I was able to pass legislation on the issue of space heaters and also improving the self-closing door laws. And my legislation is now law in the city of New York. Mayor Adams signed it into law approximately 2 weeks ago. Budget-related items. This year, I was able to bring, a lot of funds to the district. Funds to fund our local parks and our local schools. I'm working with the mayor, hoping to be able to fully fund Zimmerman Playground. I know that's a big priority for all of you and the people of that region, and Allerton and Parkside houses. It's a very pricey renovation, approximately 15 million, but our communities deserve it. So we're working to be able to fully fund that project. But we were able to bring a lot of funds to improve a lot of the playgrounds in our schools. I drive around the district and I see so many playgrounds, just nothing but concrete, and that's unacceptable. So this year we were able to bring $18 million to be able to completely transform our school playgrounds, and those funds should cover at least 12 playgrounds, completely redo them and turn them into state-of-the-art playgrounds.
Thank you. Julene, do you have anything for the councilman?
Thank you so much, Councilman Felix, for being here. I don't know. I guess I think I'm so appreciative that you have the sanitation and safety and the crazy ATV thing on your watch list. I wish, the Bronx, there's so many beautiful places here, and I feel really lucky to be in the building I am and have a view of Bronx Park. I wish the entire borough would be going through a beautification, education, and have enough garbage cans everywhere, and have businesses who, have flowers outside. I don't know, I don't want to sound like some kind of old Midwestern lady, but I do think the thing that is compelling people, that people want to be in Manhattan and Brooklyn. I work in Brooklyn, and the difference between there and here is huge. And I wish I know that I have colleagues at my job who are now moving to the Bronx because they can get bigger apartments here. But I just feel like somehow our neighborhoods kind of don't sing beauty. And I think if if we're surrounded by beauty, people then there's pride of ownership in the neighborhoods, and then we want to make sure it stays that way. I don't know. I just would like to see more pride of ownership, I guess, instead of, it just feels like sometimes we're surrounded by destruction. That's all, but thank you so much for your work.
Yep, thank you. And I completely agree. And, you know, the Bronx is one of the boroughs with the most parkland. But, you know, we need to make sure that, you know, we don't just have the most parks and green spaces. We need to make sure that those are spaces that people can actually enjoy. There's one park in my district, in the other side of the district on Grand Concourse. You know, we've seen a lot of needles. No child deserves to be, deserves to play in a park like that, or to be growing up in a playground, hanging out with friends, and come across those things, syringes and etc. So I completely agree. We need to make sure that our neighborhoods are clean, beautified, and yeah, good spaces where our families could live and grow.
Thank you. Bobby, did you have a question for the councilman?
Sorry, I had to unmute. I'm sorry. Hi, yeah. My name is Bobby Mitchell, and I just want to know, are we going to be able to get any dog parks in our vicinity? I live on Williamsbridge Road, like 2 blocks from Allerton, and Bronx Park East is way, way, way down the block. And I don't know of any dog parks in that area. We have to walk all the way over by Pelham Parkway to get to a dog park. And there are 1 trillion dogs in our neighborhood.
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to have the conversation with all of you. If there's a park that you think has a good space, a good location for a dog park, I'm definitely open to bringing funding for that dog park.
Thank you so much.
Whether it's a park or even parkside houses, that's something that a lot of residents of parkside houses have mentioned.
Thank you. Evelyn, do you have a question for the councilman?
No question.
Okay. Let's see, who else? Michael Taylor, do you have a question? Okay. Fiona Reitz, thank you for joining. Do you have a question?
No, I do not have any question at this moment.
Okay. I think that's everybody. Is there anybody that I may have missed that has a question for the councilman? Okay, I think that's everyone. Councilman, thank you again so much for joining us today. You are always welcome to join our public safety meetings. We're here usually the 3rd Tuesday of the month, so feel free to join us anytime.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And, count on me as an ally, especially on quality of life and public safety issues. Those are big priorities for me. Those are big priorities of the people that I represent, and therefore, as their representative, that's a priority for me. Also, my office information is in the chat. Anything that I could be helpful with, we're always a phone call away. You could also visit, no appointment needed. And we're also joined by Fiona Reitz and Kathleen, my chief of staff and my director of community affairs. They'll be more than happy to help out with anything that we could be helpful with. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Fiona, sorry, I didn't realize you were with the council member.
No problem. Thank you.
We're at the Community Board 7 meeting and also this one at the same time.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for putting in time with us today. It was a very nice surprise. Thank you.
Yep, happy to join.
So does anybody have any issues or anything you want to bring to CB11 to the committee?
I see Roxanne's hand is up. Is that from before, or does she have another question?
I'm so sorry. That's from before. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Julene, you put your hand up? You're muted.
Unmute yourself.
Can you unmute yourself? Right.
Well, okay, so I wanted just to say thank you to everyone because even though I have crazy work hours, I was following the whole thing about the children's playground and wearing playground, and Diana, I watched all of the celebration. I wish I was there. I just applaud everyone for doing that. It's such a great addition to the park, and I love that the children have somewhere to go and that it's just a great addition, and I just kudos to everyone who worked on that. It's a huge accomplishment. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that, Julene. Okay, anybody else have anything for the committee? Diana, go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Julene. It was so many people over so many years that it took to get that done. But thanks. I just wanted to report a very satisfactory encounter with the 49th precinct just last night. At midnight, this car pulled up in front of my building, blasting music so loud, and it just went on and on. And several of us yelled out at them to, be quiet. And in response, they started shining bright lights into our windows and yelling back at us. And it got really nasty. So I called 911, and I didn't really think anything would come of it, but just like 5 minutes later, 4 officers showed up. They talked to the guys, talked them down, and then I got a call on my phone saying, the officers want to meet with you. Do you want to come talk to them? And so I said, sure. And I came down, and they kind of hid me off to one side so the guys wouldn't see, and they answered all my questions about it, and said that they couldn't arrest them for the noise, but they didn't need to arrest them. It was enough that they showed up, and they showed up in force, and they really talked them, into behaving, which is what we wanted. So I was just so surprised that they came so fast, they took action. It was really great. I hope that keeps up.
It's nice to hear.
Everyone has that experience.
Yeah, it's nice to hear a positive story about the 49. I know that they're understaffed themselves, and they work as hard as they can, and maybe not always to our satisfaction, but it's good to hear that you had a good interaction with them. Thank you, Diana. Anybody else have anything for the committee? Okay, so I think that would be the end of our meeting. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Seconded by Ellie. Great. Thank you, everyone, for attending our meeting. Our next meeting will be in September, and more than likely that's going to be in person. So I hope everyone that's here is able to attend in person also. Again, thank you to the council member for joining us today, and maybe we'll see you at our next meeting in September.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Everyone have a
Thank you,
safe and
Monica.
happy
Safe summer for everybody.
Joy.
meeting. Ends 7:54. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Night.